there, this is Jo Baird of Jo's Crafty Hook and Jo's Crafty Hook Design, and in this video tutorial we will be doing our joining. We will join our hexagon squares to create this ridge that you see here, because in the last video you did at the going in the front post double crochet, so that'll bring it up because we are actually going to go into the back loops that were left over from doing our front post single crochet. So we are going to be going in the back loops with our tapestry needle and our long tail of yarn to join our squares. Okay, and the main thing you have to do is to make sure you have your pattern lined up. Make sure you have your rows going down lined up and the rows going across lined up. And this is especially important if you are doing two colors like I did. If you didn't do two colors, that's okay. We can still go through this video and show you how to join your hexagon squares. Okay, so let's get to our layout. I'm not doing a full size here. I'm just going to show you the basics of what you need to do. And again, I have my two colors here. So we're going to join these together going in the back loop only. And we have to make sure we set up our layout correctly. So I have more of the gray squares, so we're going to go with those. And then this is the first row going down. And then this is the second row going down. And this will be our third row going down. Okay, so as you can see here, I have my layout like I do in my blanket. So what we are going to do, we are going to join these going in the back loop only. Now if you see here, this is, we're coming down to one side of this instead of lining them up evenly across. Okay, so let's see if I get this straight. Okay, so we are gonna start joining, and if you have a long tail of yarn, you can pretty much connect these with one piece and then go back and do the short rows that are left over. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to connect our two rows going across. So the best way I found to do this is to line up your squares and fold that front loop down, and then exposes the back loop. And then you want to do that the same on the other side. You're going to fold that front loop down, expose your back loops, and then join that way. Okay, so we are going to go into the first side. Okay, we don't want to go in the corner. We're going to leave that corner unworked. So we're going to go into that first stitch going down one side of our hexagon square. And if you remember, there are 12 stitches going across, so you want to line them up with the 12 stitches on the other side of your square. Okay, so let's get started. I am folding my ridges down, lining up my first stitch to my first stitch, So you're going to go into that back loop of your first square, and then you're going to go in that first back loop of your second square. Okay, and that is what you want it to look like. Okay, so I am going to make my knot here by going back into that first stitch, going back into the first stitch of the other square, and tying my knot right there so I don't get my squares coming apart when it's washed. Okay, so next I am back on the other side, so we're just going to sew back and forth across our back loops only. Okay, so here we're going to find our second back loop, go into our second back loop of the other square, and pull our yarn through. Okay, so we're just, like I said, we're just going to sew back and forth in those back loops until we get to our 12th stitch on our side, being sure to line up each stitch to each stitch because you don't want to have your squares crooked. Almost there. Okay, so I stopped at the 12th stitch, and then we're going to flip our square over to be sure we have it correctly. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, since we're here at this corner, we're going to bring our second color square in and start going in the back loops of that. Okay, so you want to be sure to line up your corners because we're not going into that corner. We're sticking to our 12 stitches going across the side. Okay, so the easiest thing I found to do when you come to these corners is where you ended on the same side of your square. This is where you're going to use your corner. You're going to go under your single crochet, chain one, single crochet in your corner that you made. This way you're not seeing a bunch of strings showing. You want to keep them hidden. Okay, so I'm under those single crochet, chain one, single crochet. Then I am gonna, let's see, I am gonna find, let's see, we're gonna go this way. I'm gonna find that first loop, first back loop on my other square, fold my ridge down, and then I'm gonna go into that first back loop. Okay, so this is joining our second row on the sides. Okay, so again, you can fold your ridges down and go in the back loops. I'm in my first one, so we're going to find our first stitch on the other square and just start sewing there. Okay, we're just going to go back and forth again. And I'm going to demonstrate a couple squares just to be sure you're doing it correctly and show you like my easiest way I found to do it, so you're not having to cut little pieces of yarn and sew them together that way. I mean, if that works for you, that's fine. But this is the easiest way for me to show you how your squares are going to line up. And you want to be sure your squares are going the same way. Okay, so I am at my last corner there, my last 12th stitch. So this is going to be our layout. So next we are going to connect our second square going down our second row, and again you're going to go under that single crochet, chain 1, single crochet to hide your yarn. Then you're going to find your first stitch on the side and go under the back loop there. Okay, then we're going to check our layout here. And then we are going to attach our second square going down and across. So we're going to find that first stitch on the side going in the back loop. And joining that way. Okay. Do I have that right? Let me check. I think I might have it upside down. Nope, no I don't. Okay. It does get a little confusing, even for me. Okay. So, let's see. Alright. So, again, we are just gonna... Went to the wrong side there. Check my layout again. Okay, here we go. So we're going to find that first stitch on this side, the first back loop, and we're going to connect our second row down and across. So we are going to go down to keep our squares connected with that long tail of yarn. And then we're just going to sew these across. Until we come to that 12th stitch right before our corner. Being sure we're lining up our rows so we don't have a crooked square. Okay. So I am back at my 12th stitch, and then we're going to check our layout again, being sure we have the right setup, which we do here. Okay, so you can keep your long tail of yarn and keep going down your row, connecting your third square with your third square and going down like I did. So when you do that, you're going to see that it leaves these squares just a little bit open. So that's where you want to take your short piece of yarn and you want to connect those. Okay. So I'm going to join here at the corner, lining up my stitches, going in that first back loop, connecting it to that first back loop, and then since we are starting a new tail of yarn, we want to make sure we tie our knot there so it doesn't come undone. Okay. So now we are just going to continue lining up our back loops and sew those together. until we come to that 12th stitch. And then I will show you how your back side is supposed to look, because it will be different from your front side. Okay, so be sure to tie off your end there, being sure to put a knot there so it doesn't come undone. Okay, so we did our short row here. And as you can see, we have our ridges on the front. And then on the back, it's going to be flat. You're not going to see any ridges because it's sealing those back loops to the back loops and creating that ridge on the front. Okay, so you can continue adding your rows. And again, be sure that your third row is higher than your second row. And you can connect those going in the back loops, being sure to line up your third row going down. And then you can connect all your squares going down. You just make that zigzag. Okay? So thank you for joining me. Again, this is our third installation of the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star baby blanket. And we joined our squares. So I am going to finish joining my squares and get ready to start our border. So be sure to join me for the next video series, which will be the fourth installation, and it will be our final installation because we will create our 2 rows on our border. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next installation. Have a blessed day.